Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and as far as I know, nobody's ever done this on YouTube, so I'm super excited. In back of me, normally I've got Pokemon boxes, Magic, MLB Showdown, a bunch of different sealed stuff, but the one thing that is new is that I've got a box of NGC coins. Now this is a 145 coin submission. They are spread out over those three boxes, and so I thought kind of naturally I would make a three-part series as to unboxing the coins. I think there's not much in the way of ancient coin guess the grade, but I'll be opening it up, talking as much as I can about the coins, though there's a fair amount that I don't have great historical context on. I just thought it would be a good idea to grade, and I'd wanted to get started as an NGC submitter. These were submitted back in January. They just got back. It's May 20th today, and so it took a long time, but since then have submitted probably in the range of like 3,000, is that right? I think like 3,000 coins to NGC. So really ramping that up, trying to get as many graded ancient coins to collectors as possible. I think it's a great way to, and there's a lot of debates on that, but a great way to get people into the hobby, especially people that are used to collecting rare US coins in holders. So time to unbox this thing. We'll see how my graded coins did. There could be some good stuff inside. I'll be excited to open it up. And I've been excited about this for 4 months or so, so I'm pumped. We're gonna slice the box open. I'll also have a lot of good storage for NGC and PCGS graded coins after this, and ANEX, I guess, but I don't grade much with them. Let me cut this one. Let's see what's inside. Well, obviously, it's a bunch of exciting graded coins. I'm gonna try to go from we'll go from the back, just so that we're able, and let me adjust the light a little bit overhead, to do some of the coin grading and do some true guess the grade. This looks like it's a Roman Imperial denarius with, looks like it's less of like a specific, that looks like probably Caracalla as a portrait on there. I would grade this thing, and this is a denarius, so I'll also try to do my best of doing some history, though I could be better at the history, but this is a denarius, would have been from the Severan dynasty in 193 to like 235. That's the Severan dynasty, though this would have been towards the middle of that. I would personally grade this thing like choice VF, which is the ancients maps over to sort of just letter grades or word grades. That would make it something like a VF 30, I believe, because VF 20, then choice VF, then XF would be like a XF 40. So it is going to be a Caracalla choice VF denarius. Very pleased with that. Basically, there's pretty good detail, but the luster is not crazy. And then I've heard that the reverse has been pretty important recently, and this is a pretty weak reverse type, so that's how I arrived at the grade on this coin. And it looks like 052, that's going to be the last one in this batch. So our next one, it looks like there's a fair amount of denarii here. That is a portrait that's probably Trajan. I would say that this one's in worse shape, though. It's got good detail, but more worn, maybe like choice fine, though, yeah, not in the best shape, and it is choice fine. That's awesome. I'm very pleased at my abilities with the grading so far, though, I also submitted stuff that I'm sure I'll be well off on. That looks like another Trajan portrait. Trajan is like in the 5 good emperors reign, so Trajan, then Hadrian, Antonius Pius, Marcus Aurelius. Before him, I think, is Nerva from 96. This one looks slightly nicer than the last one, but it also could be choice fine. I'm going to say, let's look at the back. I'm going to say choice fine again. I wouldn't be shocked if it's VF. So I'm wrong. Great news, that's VF, since VF Trajans are highly sought after. There's a good value increase on that one, but definitely adding to the nice store of good coins here. Looks like, and it's interesting how they would just strike with so many different reverse types. That one I'm not sure if that maybe is a Nerva or exactly who's on that portrait. You can see some of the CAES. Let's zoom in and see if we can make it out. It looks like that says Nerva right there. I would call that maybe fine at best. It's going to be choice fine, and this is also a Trajan portrait, so interesting how there can be a fair amount of disparity, these two coins grading the same. Though I guess this one also has, well, there's maybe some slight drawbacks to both, but it also has this designation brushed and scratches. So brushed is like all ancient coins are cleaned, but this one's been extra cleaned a little bit, and then there's some scratches that you can kind of see if you zoom in the field. That's just another moniker that's often noted. So that one probably is in a little tougher shape, but good to know about that. This one I would also not be shocked at all if it was considered brushed. Should be another Trajan portrait. I would call that one choice fine brushed if the other one is as well. And it's going to be VF brushed, so maybe a little bit of better detail is going to be the argument here. Certainly the back is quite nice, but you can tell maybe just a little bit more scrubbing as it was unearthed in how they conserved the coin. So right here, that one does look like actually Nerva. You can see Nerva there, though it doesn't. Sometimes there's emperor names that you don't see. This one looks pretty nice. I would not be shocked if it was like a VF. Reverse is a little bit more worn, but it's a nice obverse. I'm going to say VF. And it is VF with some marks, I guess right there. VF Nervas often sell for quite a lot, so that's quite exciting. Could be like a 200 plus coin, but I could be wrong on that. I don't go on any like what I say here and take that as guaranteed. That looks like maybe, is it Titus or one of the earlier rulers, like a As or Sestertius or probably not Sestertius, but maybe Depondius. I have no idea what the grade is, maybe VG. It's going to be a Titus fine. So Titus comes in before Domitian, which is 81 to 96, and he's ruling as Caesar underneath. Actually, yeah, I think that's correct. But good to know there. Then we've got this. I think that's a Nero denarius, which Nero is pretty rare, but this thing is super worn. You can see barely any detail. Salus, it looks like ALUS should mean Salus with some scratches. Call it maybe about good scuff or scratch. And it's going to be good scratch, but still pretty nice. And then let's see. What do we have here? I'm not sure what ruler this is. It could be something pretty good. It looks like a maybe Quinarius because it's a little bit smaller, but I submitted all this stuff a long time ago, and a lot of it Spencer had bought, who's a friend of mine who has helped out a lot with ancients, but call it maybe like choice VG in terms of the grade, which would be 1 under fine. This is an Augustus Quinarius from 25 to 23 BC. That's fascinating. Under legate P. Carisius. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but the Quinarius would have been a half denarius, and there were other places like the Celtic tribes struck quinari on the half denarius standard. So very interesting type, and I could see that being a little bit better. I think some of this stuff I'll sell and whatnot. Others of it is definitely, we'll try to kind of maximize the money that I could get for it through like a whatnot or through a online platform. This is a great coin. I mean, this type though looks like it would be like 4th century BC because it's got the head of Heracles, like, and I would call it like a, I'll grade this VF just to be bold. It is VF, and it's a Mysia Pergamum diable. Fascinating. I'm not sure why it's in this batch, because I thought that they would put all the similar types of coins together, but I guess this one snuck through. Nice coin. That seems like more of an eBay type. Oh, and then here's a Mark Antony denarius, which is awesome. It's a legionary denarius. This was kind of struck. I think it's like, I forget if it's like fighting Octavian. I need to know the history better to be making this video, but I'll just admit that I don't know it. It's Mark Antony, Roman Imperatorial period, so not before it's fully an empire, but it's been scratched. It's got some banker's marks on there. Let's see if we can find the banker's marks maybe in the middle, but a very popular type. And grading fine is actually a pretty decent grade to achieve, so that's good news. Then this is probably another, this is I think a Victoriatus from like the 3rd century BC, and let's see what the grade is. I would guess this is going to be like choice fine. VF, even better. So another nice grade on an earlier silver coin of the Roman Republic back then. I think that would have been around one of the wars or battles that they had. This, I'm thinking that this is like a rarer emperor. I forget exactly who it is or what the context is here, though I'm going to guess that's a VG. It's a lower grade coin, which it looks like it is. This is going to be of the Roman Republic, an A. Plautius Denarius. Tough shape, but nice to confirm that it is in fact a genuine coin. And there were definitely some that I submitted with the goal of just figuring out if they were genuine. So Roman Republic, they're striking a bunch of different types. That one I'd guess also is going to be like G. It's VG under L. Papius Celsus. Right in the Roman Imperial phase though, so that's right around when Julius Caesar is taking power. Very nice type, but a lot of these are a touch more worn than what I'm buying today, so it's interesting how the strategy can evolve so quickly. That looks like a dolphin, Lucretia. Maybe this one will be like a fine. It is fine, Banker's Marks, Lucretius Trio. Really interesting dolphin type there though on the back of it, which I think is exciting. And then here we have this awesome looking elephant coin that I would grade like a VG. Which it is VG, Banker's Marks, Metellus, PS. These would be like the moneyers that were striking it. They would often put their names pretty prominently in it. I can't tell. I forget if it's like a lot of these are prominent persons in the empire. That one looks like an interesting Caduceus, like medical implement with a shaking hands type. I would call this one. I can't tell if it's VG or G. I'm gonna say G, and it's VG. A little bit better. Albinus Bruti in the Imperial phase as well. So a little bit better, at least from my perspective. And then this one is in really solid looking shape. I would call this maybe like a fine grade with a Banker's Marks designation, which it will be. Vibius Verus. Very nice. Also in the Imperial phase. And then this, I think, is a Julius Caesar type in super worn shape. The Julius Caesars, I did look at the grades, so I'm not going to pretend. This should be AG, which it is scratched up, but it's a Julius Caesar coin of the very famous Julius Caesar. It's fantastic that it's going to be in a holder, which I think should add some meaningful value to the coin. Certainly a few $100 item, and it was kind of picked out of a batch that was not advertised as having the Julius Caesar, so that's great news. And I really like this type. I've sold a few other ones of the type. I would call that probably towards VG, which is fine. Banker's Mark. A Clodius MF Turinus, 42 BC Denarius. There were a few. I also bought a 4A recently. This is a nice, very deep strike as well, with some of the implements and a jug on there. I would call this like more choice fine. It's going to go all the way up to VF even. Q, Cecilius, Metellus Pius. Often one issuer would strike a bunch of different coins in their name. And this is this is like the elephant type. I'll give you a sense to look at it, but I do already know the grade here of Julius Caesar with the implements and the super classic elephant, though there are some incrustations. It's going to be a VG coin with a few marks on there, but one of the most famous Caesar types. And then, so it looks like a fair amount more of the Denari. That is nice. I'm going to go up to choice fine on that. Whoa, VG, so it's way off. Or not way, but it's two solid grades. Another Imperial Denarius. Maybe it's kind of nice eye appeal, technically pretty worn down. And this is the first batch of stuff that I sent off, so I would guess that that's going to be VG as well. Choice fine, so I messed those two up because fine would be a nice increment above VG, but it looks like maybe they're grading a little bit more the technical level of detail as opposed to the eye appeal, because if we look at these two, I would say maybe nicer eye appeal on the left, even if there's better detail on the right. Important to factor in when people purchase coins, what do they want? Like technically really nice shape stuff, or this one looks like another Victoriatus. If the last one was VF, I'd call this one choice fine. It's going to be fine with a club. Nice little stack of NGC graded coins building up over there. And the inventory is definitely going to feel different with all these coins added to it. So that's very exciting for me. Here we've got that should be like a fine maybe. Brushed, a little bit too brushed Vibius Verus. Also some scratches on there, which are a little bit, maybe it's the digs in the side of the coin on that side. Then right here we've got, that should be more like VG. Pompey Jr. That's, I think, this would have been minted in Spain. I don't know if that's a better type, but it's nice to see, you know, and being minted in Spain, it's important to realize how much territory would have been covered. Another Paulus. That's in solid shape. I'd say fine. Banker's marks. Yep. Emilius. I don't know what LEP stands for, but very, very attractive coin. In that example, we've got this one. Ooh, beautiful type. I'm going to say choice fine. Whoa, VG. So I'm shot and with a scratch across the face. M Furious a little bit earlier. Some of these date back to all the way to like 150 BC, but again, great eye appeal. Love the wear pattern on that, but technically, I guess, a bit more worn down. Right here, we've got an About Good Emilius type, similar to the one we had just unboxed. And then right here, this appears to have a sharper strike. This is probably like I'm going to say a fine candidate with a bit of damage, I guess, to the front over time. M. Cordius Rufus, right around that Julius Caesar 46 BC time frame. And then this is also in better shape, though maybe technically worn. I still want fine on it, and it is going to be fine. Imperial. It's so fascinating to just think that these things were being struck right around when Julius Caesar was taking over. This one looks more VG, and it's even G a little bit under that. Similar type. You can see the difference between what a fine and a good would look like. And then that thing, off recent revelation, I would think that this is going to be a bit higher of a grade, maybe towards like fine, when I would think it would be lower. Okay, it is VG. Good lessons in lower grade denarius grading. That thing should, I'll say VG. Servilius Vatia, restored issue. I actually don't know what that means, but I'm very pleased that so many of these are authentic, because I really try not to sell anything I don't think is authentic. Often if it's a little nicer, then I'll send it to grading. It seems like these have been coming back pretty nice. I'll go VG on this. Scratches Navius Balbus, but we should have a good assortment here ready for rebate. That thing is beautiful. I would say that that's VF candidate, and it is VF Thalna from 154 BC. That's much earlier. That's a really nice coin. Certainly would be above $100. Spent a good bit to grade all these things, but it's interesting to think through how much of a premium should be ascribed to for graded items. That one looks like a very similar portrait, but I'm going to say that's a VG. Fine. And it's not necessarily, but a lot of these have the head of Roma in a similar way. And many of them were also anonymous. That's in pretty good shape. I'll say choice fine. Fine. Valerius Flaccus. FLAC again. Those are not the worst to identify. There's some that are much tougher types. That's a nice condition as well. Great obverse. Choice fine. I feel good about. VF even better from the Esquilo. I guess the choice fine grade has been used very sparingly. Watch this one be choice fine. I'll say VF though on that as well. Really nice coin. Super pumped about it. Here we've got bit tougher shape. I'll say fine. It's in there's good detail on there. M. Varguntius. And we're coming towards what seems like a lot of nicer types here. Vibius. I'll say that's fine. Choice VF. Wow, that's the best graded coin so far here. Fantastic. I guess there's a lot of detail. That's a quadriga, 4 horses pulling the chariot. Beautiful from 90 BC. But I would not have pegged that to be that nice of a coin when it comes to the grading. And that one, if I know anything, it's to grade it low. I'll say VG, which it is, but it has very nice eye appeal. Aphanius CF, which I don't know what that abbreviation means. And then right here, I'll go with this VG as well. Banker's marks from 122 BC. That's a nice type, actually. Beautiful 2-horsed. I'll go fine. of Marcus Lebo. What else do we have here? A little bit more worn. That should be like VG with scratches. F scratches, you can see. Bit scratched up there and brushed. It's been a little bit too cleaned for NGC's liking. That's a nice type. Great obverse. I'll say VF. Beautiful, though with some marks, but a little bit of nice toning on there that I think is super attractive. That one should be a little bit lower grade, maybe like fine. Choice fine. Finally, we got a choice fine, but it's been brushed. You can see it is a little bit excessively cleaned, I would say. And then this last one, almost might be 4A. I would say choice VG. I'm going to go VG over F. It is VG. Okay, and they're saying perhaps plated as well, which would indicate that it was like not good silver quality. But fantastic results and very interesting for me to do all this learning. Super, super interesting. I got to figure out how to sell them. I actually don't know what I'm going to do with it. So, yeah, excited and look forward to editing this video and learning a ton from it and using it to inform my ancient spine going forward. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to head on over to treasuretown.com and sign up for our email list to stay up to date on everything that's happening, whether it's auction updates, exciting new inventory drops, coin collecting news, or general informational resources. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on another one.